Today we want to get into some scriptures that deals with strangers. Many of the Hebrew Israelites, by the way, don't want to deal with these scriptures. They don't want you to deal with. They don't want me to deal with it because it troubles their theory, their school of thought that the Gentiles cannot be saved, natural-born Gentiles. When you look at the first feast, the feast of the Passover, in Exodus chapter 12, verse 43 through 49, you find where the Most High tell the children of Israel who can keep the Passover: Jews and strangers. These strangers are strangers that were converted and was connected to the Hebrew Israelites by way of circumcision. So it tells us clearly that these people can keep Passover. What constitutes a Jew being saved at this time? According to scripture, we know that if a Jew keep the law of Moses and Torah, he is saved according to Torah, right? The same difference with the strangers in the Old Testament. Strangers who have joined themselves keep Torah. They are no different from the Jews according to the scripture. One law shall be for both Jew and Gentile. Now, when you look at Exodus chapter 12, verse 37, 38, guess what you find? You find the mixed multitude who is strangers. The mixed multitude went up also with them. Flocks and herds and very much cattle. All of these mixed multitudes are considered strangers. Let's look at Leviticus chapter 24, verse 10. It paints a picture that there's a Israelite woman, had a son. That son was the father of an Egyptian dude. You find that in Leviticus chapter 24, verse 10. Why am I showing you these scriptures? I'm showing you these scriptures for the purpose of tackling the subject strangers. The Hebrew Israelite Nicodemalites of today would want to claim that strangers that are referring in the Old Testament are referring to scattered sheep. And at this time, and at this point, Israel was not scattered at all. So why are they making the claim that the strangers are dealing with the scattered sheep? Not so, my friend. This is not true. Let's look at another scripture that you Hebrew Israelite really don't want to deal with and don't want to get into. Can God answer sinners' prayer? The answer is no. God don't answer sinners' prayer. If God is only for the Hebrew and not for the other nation, then why is it that King Solomon is praying for both Israel and the strangers alike? And again, at this time, Israel was in their land. They weren't a scattered people. And they did not know that eventually they were going to stray away from the Lord and be scattered. They're praying in present day time, thinking that we're well established now. We build the house of the Lord. Everything going to be super gravy. And look at this. 1 King chapter 3, verse 30. 41, 43. Read it for yourself. And hearken thou to the supplication of your servant and of thy people Israel, when they shall pray towards this house. And hear thou in heaven thy dwelling place, and when thou heareth, forgive them. And then now he says, moreover concerning the stranger, watch this, that is not of thy people Israel. These, my friend, are not scattered sheep people. They're actually natural-born strangers. That is not of thy people Israel. Moreover concerning the stranger, that is not of thy people Israel, but come out from far countries for thy name's sake, For they shall hear of the great name, of the strong hands, and of the stretched out arm. When ye shall come and pray towards his house, hear thou from heaven thy dwelling place, and do according to all that the stranger call thee. 4. That all people of the earth may know thy name, to fear thee and do thy as thy people, and that they may know that this house which I built is called by thy name. How beautiful is that, my friend? Hebrew Israelites, you don't want to deal with that. You don't want to deal with the fact that nations of nations can be saved. You don't want to deal with that. But the scripture is there to tell us ourselves that the house of the Lord shall be the house of all nations. You can find many scriptures. Psalms chapter 86, Psalms chapter 9, verse 22, chapter 27 through 28, 66 and 4. All of these scriptures is letting us know the house of the Lord shall be called the house of many nations. Nations, by the way, is plural, not singular, because Israel is one nation that is made up of 12 tribes. So when you see scriptures like Genesis 18:18 is saying one nation, Genesis 22 verse 18, one nation, Israel, and then in thy seed all the nations, plural, meaning all the nations of the earth. It's the same difference here, my friends. Hebrew Israelites, come to the real truth. Nicodemulites.